Hi everyone, I'm Hariz.
I'm Arisha.
And I'm Eilya.
We are from CYBERPOLITICS class and we want to discuss about politics in 60 seconds on how political parties shape political narrative in TikTok communication.
So most political parties are teaching long speeches for viral videos in shaping opinions, spreading agendas as well as targeting young voters. So in just seconds, political narratives go viral. So welcome to the new era of digital democracy.
We plan to investigate how political parties construct as well as disseminate narratives on TikTok. These videos tend to prioritize virality over accuracy, so this raises concerns about misinformation, manipulation, as well as the weakening of democracy, and as well as discourse. We want to see how narrative is framed in order to fit the conventional as well as the Islamic perspectives, and without further ado, let us go to the next segment.
Let's go!
So let's explore the rising influence of TikTok in Malaysian politics. TikTok isn't just for dance trends anymore. It's become a powerful tool for political messaging, especially among youth. So with its fast-paced, viral content, political parties can reach millions in seconds. But here's the catch. When engagement becomes more important than accuracy, we risk misinformation, sensationalism, and the erosion of democratic values. From a communication ethics lens, there's a clear need for media literacy, responsible messaging, and transparency. And from an Islamic perspective, the stakes are even higher. Islam teaches us the communication must reflect truth, justice, and trust. Misleading content, slander, or divisive messages violate not just professional standards but spiritual ones too. So as we scroll and swipe, let's remember every message matters. Politics on TikTok should inform and unite and not to mislead and divide.
I would like to highlight the knowledge that our very constituents have regarding the conventional strategies that the political parties employ. One of them is regulating digital political communication, as well as combating misinformation. So, Ayman, what do you think about this?
To be honest, I went and checked the Safety Act 2018 was amended 2021 in COVID. For misinformation specifically, there is no mention of misinformation in the act. But specifically about combating misinformation, the current regulations do not necessarily combat misinformation, especially during election times. Because in Malaysia, for example, during election times, it is the right time, quite the fertile time to cook up someone. About the fake news act is that when it doesn't recognize nuance, it is also restrictive of free speech, which is that if anything can be made into fake news just because it disagrees with the mainstream narrative.
Honestly, the only correct answer is to, check your sources, to go for certified sources, as boring as that sounds. Discuss with people that you're close to, but then you might end up being in a bubble if everyone just shares the same political opinion. I think it's important when looking at, information, especially political information, or anything that has to do with that. It's important to understand that this has a narrative, this is inherently biased towards something, and that if I want to learn about it, I have to keep that in mind when checking for sources.
Hi everyone, my name is Muhammad Hariz bin Muhammad Zaidi Jabardin. So I will explain on the Islamic perspective of the political narrative on TikTok. From an Islamic perspective, the political messaging on TikTok must go beyond just being trendy. It should align with the ethical values rooted in the religion. The parties often use Quranic verses, hadith, and concepts like adil, justice, amanah, trust, and maslahah, the public interest, to present their platform as morally sound. Religious influencers are also used to give message as a spiritual tone. This makes the political content not just persuasive but emotionally and religiously compelling. However, Islam reminds us that the freedom of speech is not absolute. Now, I pass the floor to Dr. No to give his perspective on the political narrative on TikTok.
I think as Muslims, obviously the rules and regulation is the same. There must be a limit. You don't have total freedom to do whatever you like. You cannot infringe the right of other people. You can't make slander. I think all those are in line with the teaching of Islam. What Islam prohibited is also prohibited from you from doing it, even though it is an online platform. So there is not much different, but in fact, yes, it is not easy. It's not easy to regulate once it is online. Sometimes the doer, the commentator, can hide themselves and remain anonymous, but the authority has the ability to trace them.
As Dr. No, he emphasized the Islamic communication must follow the ethical limits. In every message must be rooted in truth, fairness, and accountability. Are there any Quranic verse or Hadith-based principle that should guide on how political content is communicated to the mass?
Oh,
If you can give.
yeah, of course. The verse of Tabayyun, in ja'akum fasiqun binaba'in fatabayyanu. But that is the verse. The word tabayyun is there. In ja'akum fasiqun binaba'in. In ja'a, if someone is coming to you, and the Quran says it is fasiq. You know fasiq? Binaba' fatabayyanu. Quran says if someone come to you with certain with something news, right? The first thing you must do is to verify, right? So I think that is very relevant and important today in the era of social media.
One key value is tabayyun, the obligation to verify information before believing or spreading it. In the context of TikTok, where content is fast and viral, this principle warns against misinformation, slander, and emotional manipulation. So while TikTok is a powerful political tool from an Islamic view, it must be used with a responsibility, clarity, and a deep sense of a moral integrity. So next, we are going to what's the impact of these political strategies on TikTok. Firstly, they significantly increase the youth participation, especially among the youth voters who might not engage with the traditional politics.
This is especially pertinent, especially when it comes to youths that are not critically engaging with the content. Rafi, what are your thoughts about
I'm
this?
assuming you mean like the Malaysian youth who are on TikTok. Are Malaysian youth who are in like, deep urban centers like KL. There are also, Malaysian youth who are in a very rural setting, and so I'm sure they engage with it in a very different way, right? And also the kind of political content that they're receiving is also extremely different. So, in order for political engagement whatsoever, this is generally speaking, and obviously it applies to Malaysia as well, or Malaysian youth, is you have to have a reason to care, right? Whether that's your values, whether that's morally. Do I think that Malaysian youth care, in a very simple way of saying it? I think many are willing to engage with it and also want to talk about it.
Secondly, this message can mobilize quickly, spreading across TikTok's algorithms in seconds. But there's also a risk when Islamic values are selectively used and they can be manipulated to divide rather than unite. So this leads to the polarization where the political opponents are framed as not just wrong, but morally and religiously inferior. There's also a consensus over the oversimplifications. Complex issues like the governance, corruptions, and law are reduced to short emotional clips, which can distort an understanding. Still, the influence is undeniable. TikTok is no longer just for fun. It's a serious platform where politics, identity, and even faith are being reshaped in just 60 seconds. To conclude, TikTok has transformed a political communication into a quick, engaging 60-second content that captures attention, especially among younger voters.
Political parties use both conventional strategies like catchy slogans as well as trends and Islamic approaches that reference religious values to connect with specific audience. So these methods aren't just about gaining followers, but they are about shaping perceptions and influencing real-world decisions.
While this opens up new spaces for political engagement, it also raises concerns about misinformation, about manipulation, and shallow understanding. In short, TikTok is not just a social media platform. It is also a growing political stage where every single second counts.
That's all from us.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.